Hi everyone. So today we will be talking about what else new coaches can do to increase their business and to get the new clients. And with that, I have my friend and my colleague, Patrick Howell, who is going to join us now. So Patrick, welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey, what's going on, Braco? What's up?
Good, good, good. So I was just saying today I wanted us to spend a couple of minutes to talk about there are so many things that coaches can do to increase their business, and especially new coaches really just think about how do I get new client? How do I get new client? How do I get new client, right? But they don't look at the bigger picture. And you and I know there are so many different ways to do this. And one of the ways that you and I have done a lot is basically delivering, value-based workshops. So
Yes.
that's really what I wanted us to talk about today.
Yeah.
How can you increase your coaching business with workshops?
And I think one of the things there too is when people hear workshops, you can either immediately put in your mind that you're doing free workshops or paid workshops. And I think they're right. They both go hand in hand. Do you have a preference on what one we chat about today, offering free value workshops or paid workshops?
Yeah, I think we can start with the free because new coaches really need to get clients, right? And
Yes.
also, when we say workshop, we also mean live webinars, Zoom meetings. Just
Yeah.
wanted to say one thing. When you and I started this years ago, right? It was so difficult. You couldn't just, there was no event, something, there was no online thing. You had to like call the
No.
friends and go to the companies and try to have
Had
somebody
to make
sign up,
flyers and all.
make a flyers, right? Bring it to corporations or to your neighbors. I mean, it was difficult. Pay
Yeah.
for the space,
Put
right?
an
And
ad in the
today,
phone book.
right? Yellow pages, right? Today, anybody can do this. It doesn't matter what country you in.
Yeah.
You have a capabilities of doing workshops.
You do.
Again, webinars, live meetings. So let's start with the free ones, regardless if it's in person. Hopefully the COVID is kind of, going away slowly. But regardless how we do it, let's start with the free one.
Yeah,
And
and I think that's
why?
a good idea. Oh, go ahead.
No, it's just why does that bring value to coaches and especially to new coaches?
Yeah. Well, I guess the first thing that comes to my mind, and I know this has been your experience as well, is that I'm really trying to run through my brain here, but I think that there has never ever in the history of my career, 20 years or so doing this type of work, that I have offered a value edit workshop free where I did not walk away with business. Maybe sometimes it wasn't immediate business,
Right.
but but there's been times that somebody who was in that workshop came to me 6 months later, either as a coach or maybe even to bring me inside their organization. So there's a lot of value. Just that's one of my first thoughts. There's a whole lot of value in doing workshops.
Yes. That's really so true. And I think the key what you just said is may not be immediate, right? But you creating connections, and a couple of months later, something will happen. Something will happen, and so they can start. Definitely will increase the business by doing some of the workshops
Yeah, it
and the
does.
webinars and meetings. How? Let's talk about where to bring these. We still call them workshops, but they're live webinars,
There are
meetings,
anything.
in
Yeah, I think
person,
workshop
whatever
is
it
just
is,
a
right?
generic term for
Yes.
anything you can do nowadays.
So let's give them some ideas how and where they can start this, because as a new coach, like you're like, okay, well, how do I get started? Where
Yeah.
do I bring these workshops?
Yeah, and I think maybe a great place for people to start is number one to identify what their specialty is in coaching. So if you have a specialty in stress reduction, let's say, or maybe you're a public speaking coach, maybe you're a life coach with a specialty in a specific area. So identify what you're really good at, and then I sort of break these into two different categories when I look at workshops. I look at ones that are sponsored, and I don't mean financially sponsored because we're talking free here, but sponsored by an organization or a company.
Yes.
And then what I refer to, and I think you do too, maybe you have a different terminology, is open enrollment workshops, which really just means in the public setting where you gather. And public setting could be a hotel room, it could be somebody's living room, right? It could be your living room. So there's a lot of those avenues. So I typically break those into two areas: the organizational sponsored ones, where you identify your specialty, and then you go out to an organization and you offer a complimentary workshop. Maybe it's a lunch and learn. Maybe it's a 2 or 3 hour session on that topic that might be valuable to the organization, with the understanding that, hey, if people walk away from this workshop with a tremendous amount of value, that the organization is open to, exploring further what it is that you have to offer. So that's the first way. And then the other way is the open enrollment.
Right. So I think, and I know you've done this a lot, doing with the, inside the corporations, it's really a great way, because the chances are, especially chances are that you'll get more business there, not just for the coaching, but,
Yes.
doing the engagements and so on. And there are also, as you mentioned, public venues, and, we talked about, and I know we've done this years ago, right? Remember that library not far from your house?
Yeah.
that we did,
I
right?
can't count how many years ago that was.
Yeah. So doing, there are libraries all over the world. They love to have people come in, do the talk. And then you can basically go and find your audience there. There are a lot of non-for-profit organizations, right, who would love to have people with the skills and knowledge to come in. And I think the key is that you don't go in to sell anything. Just always keep that in mind. You're not
Yes.
selling,
No,
right?
you're adding value.
That's all you're doing. You're adding value, and that adding value needs to be on your, on top of your head, if you will,
Yes.
all the time, throughout your lifetime. I mean, this is not in the beginning, always.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I would say, to clarify even what the heck this, because that's a sort of, they become catchphrases in society.
Yes, yes.
Adding value, right? It's a value add. That's like
Yes,
the
yes.
value add. Like, what does that really mean?
I can add, AirPods. Yeah.
So adding value, I would say, even investigating that further and breaking that down. So if you are, say, in a library and you've gathered 10 people that want, to come, to your workshop, is really thinking about, how can I impact these people's lives? Like, what can I
Yes.
give them that's concrete, that they can grab a hold of, put it in their pocket when they leave here, and it's going to make a difference. They're going to be doing something different after they leave, or thinking a different way, or putting things in a different context after they leave the workshop. So that's really adding value.
Right. And so I know that now some people will be thinking, well, yes, but I'm not ready. I don't have material. I just want to be a coach. So, like, I don't know. I can't just show up at library and do the talk. Of course, we're not going to be able to cover a lot of that. But there is a lot of preparation for this. You can just show up. So how do you prepare? Of course, it depends where you're doing this, right? So let's talk about, public. Let's start from corporate. I know that's your favorite, and that's really what brings you a lot of business. And now the question is, how do you find corporate clients in the beginning? Well, right, start from your connections, from your family connections, from your kids, parents. I mean, there are people that we know, the neighbors, somebody works somewhere that we should.
And there's no magic, and there's no real magic. I mean, people know how to get business. Business is about consulting and sales. And consulting and sales only takes place in the beginning. I mean, it is what it is. And in the beginning, if you have no contacts in organizations, then sometimes it requires the cold call. It requires the drop by, right? You're in one business, you walk to the next business, and you say, "Hey, I was in the area, having a conversation." So there's, and I do think that happens a lot, right? We get caught up in, well, Patrick or Braco has all this work, and they're not out there knocking on doors. Maybe not now. We're not knocking on doors, right? But there's a long history of having to do that. So there's really no shortcuts. I think it is sales, it is consulting. In the beginning, you have to sell yourself, you have to sell your work, and and the way to do that is to get it in front of people. So I think that's a start. Is if someone is listening and they're having in their mind that I don't want to go out and sell my work or consult my work, I think that sometimes it's good to put that off to the side, because in the beginning, until you get going, and then what happens is once you get going, you get ingrained, and even just in those organizations, it starts to kind of filter out and ripple out. And next thing you know, you're in other organizations that are, oh, my friend or my brother-in-law works at such and such. They could use you. Right?
Yes.
And that's how it kind of works.
Yes. And it just, always think of this, as you mentioned in the beginning, this is a long term. Everything is basically, business is a long term. We don't start business today and expect, next month. And people always say, well, but, like you said, I don't know people, I don't have clients, I don't have this. And we didn't have anything. Nobody has anything in the beginning.
Nobody has anything in the beginning.
Right? Yeah. We all start with zero. So don't that discourage you. We all start with zero.
But I think the libraries is the great start. And then also anyone who is interested in, getting in, there's places like called workforce investment boards, and if you're in the United States anyway, and I'm sure that other countries and other locations have similar things. They're basically quasi-government funded places where people who need work come and they up their skills. So I know in the United States, they're in every single county or in every single state in the United States. And those groups are always looking for people to come in complimentary and to help train unemployed people. Now, those unemployed people, where do they go? The idea is that they're eventually going to land jobs, and you can make those instant connection right there that then leads to an introduction into whatever organizations they go to. So it is really a grassroots thing.
It really is. This is actually a great segue for folks who want to focus on leadership and executive coaching. That's a great place to go. All right, because these people will get a job. They'll be in a position then to bring you in.
And those and just to say, those workforce investment boards, so the people that are coming to the workshop oftentimes are unemployed or underemployed. But those workforce investment boards are connected with all the senior executives in the local area, because the senior executives in the local area are the ones who are sponsoring this in a lot of ways, looking for the best candidates to come out of these workforce investment programs. So it's not just that you're just working with unemployed people that have no money. You're actually demonstrating to the senior executives, the hiring folks in that area, that you're making a huge impact in the community.
Right. So what's the action now we want folks to take, right? I think the first thing is, define your, what you're really best at. What is it that you're selling? Because you're not going to go out there to talk about your one-on-one coaching, right? Or your, executive coaching. You will have, as you mentioned, whatever your skills, is it stress reduction, is it leadership, is it relationships, is it, find that. Hopefully you have it. And once you have that, then and only then you will develop the program. And the program has to be, you cannot have one thing and deliver it everywhere, but you could have one thing and adjust it to different audiences, right?
Yes.
Right? So it doesn't have to be new presentation every time, but it needs to be adjusted so that, in a library, you might have a different audience than if you're going to, help people find a job. But you can use the same topic, just adjust it.
And I would say just quickly, and if you're just interested in not getting in corporations, then you take your specialty. Let's say you're a life coach who's really freaking good at helping people set life goals, and you're really on the top of your game with that. Then start by telling everybody in your neighborhood that you're having a local workshop in your living room or online.
Yes.
And sometimes you might get 3-4 people. Sometimes you might get 10 people. But if you're really, really good at what you do, then being really good is really the elixir of business. If you're really good at what you do and you're confident in what you do, business will come pouring in.
Yeah. So I think, confidence is in the beginning a key. Being good in the beginning, they don't know if they're good or not. Most people think I'm not good in the beginning, all right? So I think that's a little bit, but having the confidence that even if you're not good today, you'll get better. You're okay, because you already made a decision to do this. So
I just mean
great.
good at what you do, like good at helping people to say set life goals. If you're good at that, then really take grounding in that and say, I'm really good at this. I might not be the best at doing workshops. That's okay. But you know
Right.
what? If you come to my workshop, I might fumble over my words. I might be nervous. And you're going to leave that workshop with a plan, moving forward. You're going to have some really concrete goals. Or if it's stress management, if I'm really good at stress management, I don't care if I'm that great at workshops, because you're going to leave with some real practical tools after my workshop to help manage your stress.
Yes. And the one thing that, I know in the beginning I would forget so many times, right? So prepare really well. Make sure you have that list so people can sign in. Make sure you leave with that, even if it's 3 emails, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this is how you to start building your business little by little. And I know we've done workshops with, hundreds of people, never picked up any email. I mean, seriously, that's really
in the beginning. You make mistakes. Yes, you make mistakes of not collecting emails and doing those type of things, and it happens. But then you hopefully you correct, the course of the ship.
Right. So we definitely saying this is just one way, right? A way to increase your coaching business, to think about creating and delivering workshops that really brings a lot of value to your audience.
Yeah.
Right. To your
and I'd be as
audience.
bold as to say it's not just increasing. If you get in the habit of doing workshops, it's probably a 10x of your business in the beginning. It really is. Because it's instead of 1-to-1, which is great. Let's say you're charging a client $500, $750 for a 1-to-1 session. Once you get really, really good at workshops, then you start charging for those workshops. Like once you get the habit of doing this, you're getting more clients, and then you're also starting to charge for your workshops. But instead of 1-to-1 $500 or $750, you're having a 3-hour workshop where each person is paying $500, and you're filling a room with 30 people or 15 people, whatever it is. So you can see the exponential benefit financially even, and then the impact that you're having.
Right. No, absolutely agree. So cool. So what's the one thing we want to leave our audience with?
Do some workshops. Yeah.
Yes. And go ahead.
You workshops. No, I would say get at it, try it out, see if it's for you. Workshops, and again, it doesn't necessarily mean in person. It could be online. It could be just like this. It could be on Facebook or however people are doing them most of the time now.
Agreed. So, and I would just leave them to, if you think this is something that could bring you a business, and we know it can, then do something today. Start looking for the organization, start developing that workshop. Take a small action like today, that will have a long-term impact.
Even if that action is identifying what your expertise is. That's great. If you don't know yet where you're really good at something, then maybe identify that today.
There we go. So identify what you're really good at, figure out what you want to do for the workshops, start looking for the organizations, and go and do these workshops. Increase your business, guys.
Yeah, good.
All right. Patrick, it's great talking to you. If not earlier, we'll be talking next Friday, right?
Yeah, of course we will. We're here. We're ready to go. I love it.
All right.
Okay.
Talk to you soon. Cheers.
Right,
Take care. Bye-bye.